I want to put that call out. So let us welcome Kristy. Welcome to the show, Kristy.
Thank you so much, Kim, for having me today.
I'm very excited that you're here today.
I'm excited to be here.
This is good stuff. So Kristy is one of those really great community leaders that we're blessed with up in the Snoqualmie Valley. Yes. And you're executive director of an organization called Community Network.
The Snoqualmie Valley Community Network.
Right, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But Kristy is also involved in something very fascinating. So I'll tell you how I got involved in this and how it kind of came to my attention. I also am involved in the community and in talking with a lot of women's groups. I'm thinking, well, how can we create a local bartering system or something where I can give my services and in return get massages and, you know, those kinds of things. How can we create an environment where money seems to be a problem, you know, bank money, but we have a lot of skills and services and things that we do that we can barter and trade with each other. And, you know, I thought, well, maybe we do something on a blog or maybe, you know, it was an idea, never really came to fruition. And then I was reading the paper, the local paper, and there was a story in there about transitions of Snoqualmie Valley and a program called Life Dollars. And I thought, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. That is awesome. Tell us about whichever one you want to start with. You can start with Life Dollars or you can start with transitions. But tell us kind of how you got involved and you're way ahead of me on this. So tell us
not that far ahead, actually. Over a year ago, I had never even considered alternative currencies, knew nothing about them until I got involved in transition, and there was a group that was talking about it, or at least wanting to talk about it. And my husband and I actually got involved in transitions just about a year ago. We had honeymooned a year ago, October, in Ecuador, and went with the Pachamama Alliance out to the Amazon to visit the Ashwar people. It was a life-changing, you know, epiphany kind of moment. Wow. We were sitting in a hut in the middle of the Amazon, far from, I mean, you know, an hour and a half, or no, more, it was like 40-minute plane ride from any roads.
Nothing you were leaving anytime soon, right?
Wow. And it was like going back in time 1,000 years. And sitting there with our bowls of chicha and, you know, which is manic root that's chewed by the women, that's fermented, and it tastes sort of like beer. But listening through, I mean, we had a translator that had with Spanish and then Chichwa, and then back to Spanish and back to English. But the head of this family who was speaking to us with his toucan head dress, you know, amazing people, just gentle, calm, you know, kids peeking through the sideboards, you know, of very few sideboards in this particular hut. But he was telling us, you have to go back and change the dreams of the North. What he was telling us was that our consumption is causing their destruction. And for those 11 days that we were with the Pachamama Alliance, that became ever so clear and urgent for us. So when Dave and I got home, we were kind of on edge with, well, now what? What do we do with this? And actually, I was recruiting Bob Patterson, I thought, for the Snoqualmie Valley Community Network Board. And so I went into the food bank. They do the lunch bunch, and I cornered Bob and said, you know, I was going to talk to him, but he talked to me first. He says, you know, there's this book group that's forming around transition, and have you heard of this? And I didn't really, I think I'd heard about it once. And he said, well, it's about sustainability and systems and, you know, peak oil, and, you know, and it's creating a community of resilience around this. I'm like, okay, this sounds perfect. So we went to the book group and then have been involved in the steering committee, and this is our volunteer passion, you know, where we've been in building community. And the more, and actually my husband Dave has studied a lot more than I have about the currencies, but I've been right there with him, just fascinated at learning, you know, number one, the Federal Reserve isn't federal. It's not, there's no reserve.
Right.
You know, it's funny money. That the whole money system is only feeding a few people, that it's, you know, it's a system that's worse than broken. And
a house of cards.
it's a house of cards, but it's also, we're subservient, and it's just sapping the life out of us. So we had, there were some other people in our group who had actually met with this Fourth Corner Exchange. Francis Ailey is the gentleman's name, who developed Life Dollars, and he lives now up in Bellingham. He started one of these systems back in England, and has, and there is a transition group up in Whatcom County. So he's been working with them, and now there are about 800 members in this Life Dollars system of
Wow.
Fourth Corner Exchange.
Wow.
So when we learned about his system, we had him come speak at a transition meeting, and it just seemed like, kind of the same reaction you had, where someone's already developed exactly what we're looking for.
Right.
And it had all the elements and pieces of all the best systems that we had been studying, but was better because he'd actually done it, and it actually worked.
It works.
And it's been up and running for, I think, 4 years up in Bellingham, and for many more years, like 20 or something in England.
Well, we're going to take a break right at the moment. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about what is Life Dollars and what is transition. And we're going to talk more. You're fascinating. I didn't even know you're going to bring these really great stories. So this hour is going to go by really fast. You're listening to Walk the Talk with Kim on KKNW Alternative Talk, AM 1150.